talk about governance, because that's an issue that has come up in some of the questions that I see here from the audience. And so one of the things was about, you had an opportunity to govern and prove yourself in Delhi, but you kind of threw it away and, had bigger ambitions. So how do you respond to that question? And there's a second part to this question as well. So it's an open question. Any of you can respond to this. So if you want, Pankaj, would you like to take that, or just give me 1 second? Go ahead, Pankaj. Go ahead, Pankaj.
Sorry, I think it was unmuted.
Yeah, go ahead.
It is very interesting because a lot of people keep on saying since last 1 month or so that you got the chance to govern and you did not govern. Now, our question to all of them is that what do you really mean by governance? There are very interesting facts on the 49 days governance by Arvind. For example, all the hospitals in the city started getting medicines. Doctors started coming on time. There was no queue in the hospitals. Teachers were there teaching to the students. All the middlemen vanished from the RTO offices. And there were examples of small vendors reducing the cost of their items. All because the governance was the way they really wanted it. And we still do not want to believe that the government we ran really ran it. There were so many files signed during the 49 days regime that it was astonishment for even the workers who were there, even the officers who were there. I was visiting one of the meetings. I was part of one of the meetings over there. And I heard one of the IAS saying to Arvind that we have never seen a chief minister who knows so much about the governance compared to anyone else. And they were in awe. The kind of messages which were sent across to everyone in the offices was tremendous. That we will not tolerate any incompliance, any corruption, and any misbehavior or any mismanagement. And they were all done with the very simple tools. For example, we made it clear that any case of corruption will be dealt very severely. Just by this message flew down to the lowest level and people started working. We keep on talking, and there were examples, people keep on coming to us and they said that there's almost 25% corruption tax in the government. Think of it, that if we can just reduce that, if we can just eliminate that, what kind of money inflow could be expected? What kind of growth in the economy could be expected?
Wonderful.
Arvind said that we will definitely reduce the number of litigations which are there in the court from the government. If those litigations go down, how would it improve the business? We have to think about it. And that's what we started doing about it. So there are many things. For example, he got a panel of traders into his office, almost 200 traders representing all across the city or the state of Delhi. And they came and discussed it with him and the commissioner that how the processes could be simplified. Within a day's time, all the processes were studied, discussed, and decided upon that if we can reduce these particular forms or simplify these processes, most of the traders would be benefited. And Arvind and the commissioner agreed to work on it, and they actually did it within a very few days. So what do we really mean by governance? We personally feel that it is not a rocket science. If we can sit across along with the stakeholders, and perhaps on the both sides of the stakeholders, if we can just sit across, understand their problem, come out with a common solution which is acceptable to both the sides, then we have achieved our governance. That is what the politics is all about, understanding and coming out to a common conclusion. And perhaps if you think of it, a lot of people say, why Meera Sanyal and Meera Patkar on the same side, on the same party? And that's what we keep on telling, that this is what we are all about, that we want to work in a way that we can talk to the two ends of the spectrum, understand both the ends, and come to a conclusion which is acceptable to all. And that's what we are, representing the whole country.
Thank you so much, Pankaj. That was actually leading into my second question about social activists and business people being on the same platform. How do you evolve into a consensus or an ideology? That was another question that had come up. So I'm glad that you responded to that as well. So, is there anything that, let me ask Mira if you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, I find it very
She's
interesting
muted.
that people consider Medha Parkar and me on the opposite ends of the spectrum. Actually, we are a lot alike in many ways, and she's someone I have the highest respect for. So, a lot of people say that Medha Patkar, fought against Enron. I think it's not widely known, except within my own bank, that I fought very hard against Enron within ABN AMRO itself. So, I think, and I do want to say this, as a banker, I can certainly tell you, uh, and many of those who are on the line who would be bankers will know of the Equator Principles, which many banks globally are signatory to, which says that before you evaluate a project, you should pass it through the ESG filters, which is ethical, social, and environmental filters. And a project which doesn't pass those filters does not qualify for project finance. And the World Bank, etc., subscribe to this. Because we as bankers have learned through very hard experience that if you fund projects or companies which are not ethical, not socially conscious, or not environmentally aware, you will lose money. It's quite straightforward. So I would say that good ideals, which is what Medha Patkar really, epitomizes, and good banking and financial sense, which is what I have spent my whole life in, are actually very closely aligned. It's just that in this country we consider them the opposite ends of the spectrum.
Thanks, Mira.